Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to a special holiday edition of Wings, Beers, and Tears. This is episode 32 of your favorite DMV sports podcast. We are coming to you live December 26th. So if you're in the UK or Canada, it's Boxing Day, right? And if you're in the US, it's December 26th, the day after Christmas. So welcome to all you sports fans out there. I am Todd, joined as always by Jeremy.
Yo.
How are you, sir?
Very well.
Nice holiday?
Awesome.
Excellent.
Good to see you, boys.
And Jerry, how are you?
I'm okay. A little bit under the weather, but
Tis the season.
I think I'm going to be able to make it.
How do you stay healthy when it's 60 degrees during the day and 25 at night? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
Holly had on Sunday had these chills, and she stayed, sleeping all day. And I took a nap yesterday during Christmas after presents and before dinner, and I never nap. So I knew something was coming.
Dude, naps fucking rule.
I know.
I don't care what you say. Naps are
anyway,
awesome.
I worked from home today, and just go ahead and spill that everywhere, Todd.
Jesus Christ, I'm spilling everywhere. It's a fucking Christmas miracle.
So, but we're ready to talk some
There's
sports.
beer tears. It's all good. That's what we're all about.
Good
you are
God,
kind
I'm
of
a fucking disaster
Jesus
over
Christ,
here.
Jesus wept.
Thank you, sir.
Shortest verse in the Bible, and also applies to Todd pouring beer.
Yeah, no kidding. Good Lord, that was terrible.
Thank you to our
I think
producer,
I'm going to
Andrea.
pour my next beer.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God somebody else is here to clean up after us. We need a bib as we drink our beers this evening.
I'm a little disappointed in Todd there. I trust in his skills, but
I'd like you to try this one, Jeremy. It's got a fucking hole in the can, I swear to God.
Well, that's where the beer came from.
So in any event, we are going to start our DMV sports talk with our favorite, the Washington Capitals. So our Caps went out a little bit with a whimper the other night against the Boston Bruins. But I must say, it was coming in due time. And
Sorry,
by the
I
way,
didn't spill any.
yeah, Jeremy made a perfect pour.
Until then, until the handoff. Jesus Christ!
Oh, it's a disaster in here. Wings, Beers, and Tears Studios have never looked so roughshod.
Well, we should be hammered if we're acting like this. We're not, but
Jesus
still fun.
Christ. So anyway, our Caps had a little bit of a rough go the other night, but I must say it was due to happen. Prior to Monday's game against the Bruins, the Caps were 16-1 in their previous 17 matchups with one of the preeminent top dogs in the NHL. You knew something was going to give. And unfortunately, the other night, pretty much every bounce went against us, as happens every once in a while in hockey. Couldn't get a save when we needed it from Holtby there in the first. Found ourselves down 4-0. Proceeded to lose 7-3 with 2 goals being an empty netter. So just a weird, odd, blah game.
Yeah.
But again,
disinterested.
Yeah, disinterested. Thing was, for the better part of the first period, I thought we carried the play, and then the second we had a mistake or something went against us, Boston scored.
Right.
It wasn't even like, oh, Boston has the power play. No, it's a goal for Boston. So again, that happens sometimes in hockey. I'm not terribly worried about it. However, as we've talked about, the league right now is so even. There's so many ups and downs and big comebacks and everything else. The Caps are due for a bit of a correction. They are at the top of the table. They're playing great hockey, but they are going to lose some games that they have found a way to grind out early in the season. So the question is, does that help them, kind of reassemble, get themselves together, come closer to playoff time? Or is that a sign of looking around the room, going, hey, what's happening? We were winning these games in October and November, and now we're not. Yet to be determined.
I think the next 4 games are pretty important, honestly.
I agree with you.
They need to get off the schneid against Columbus. I think that's important because they've lost 6 out of 7 against Columbus. I think Columbus just they don't have a lot of talent, so they grind it out more, and the Caps aren't willing to put the effort in to do it. And I love Torts, but I mean their next 4 games are Columbus, Carolina, the Islanders, and then Carolina. So those you can make great strides of separation. I mean, you could really throat punch your division in the next 4 games, or you can make it tighter. I think the next 4 are pretty important for them.
So I'm gonna totally cop out real quick before Jeremy chimes in. I think it's more important in terms of how we play. If we're carrying the play in those games, I honestly don't give a shit what the results are. We've gotten results. We have like 26 wins right now. That's ridiculous.
26-7.
Yeah, I mean, that's absurd. So if we drop a couple games just because of puck luck or because something goes against us, I'm not really going to be that concerned. We need to outchance the opponent. We need to tilt the ice in our favor, and we need to play with good pace. And if we do those three things and we finish up, 2-1-1 over the next four, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I think they need to go 2-0-1 or 3-0 the next three, just to set the trend. Let your main competition know that they.
And I agree with you. I just hope we do it kind of the right way. Like, I hope we go out and impose our will and kind of dominate a little bit and play well. That's going to make me feel good. If we drop a couple lackluster games here in the next four, I'm going to kind of be with you. I don't want to be the President's Trophy winner, but at the same time, I don't want to be playing shitty hockey, 2 out of every 3 games or 1 out of every 3 games.
Whatever it is about Columbus and Carolina, they have our number.
They do.
They can play like shit for 3 straight games and then play the Caps and be in it and control most of the game. But I think you're right. I think I'd like to see the Caps control and but something about Columbus, man, they just may have our number.
They do. They do. No, they get up for games like this. I mean, they're not going to be a playoff team, and if they do make the playoffs, it's going to be one of those epic runs. So for us, it's kind of a no-win. We go out, we beat Columbus. They're like, oh, they suck. We go out, we lose. They're like, oh, Columbus has your number. So
actually, I think the opposite. I think these 4 games, if they can come out and go 4-0 or 3-0-1 or something like that, they sort of set the trend. Because you're in the doldrums of the year now, but if you can get motivated and set the trend for, especially the Islanders, saying, "Hey, man, this is our division, and you guys are playing for second,"
right?
But I don't know if the guys on our team have that sort of killer instinct in December. They probably don't.
You've made the point before, and I think you're right. December, January, right now, you're probably not going to see the best Capitals hockey. The makeup of the team, it's too veteran laden. They understand what's at stake in February and March. They're not that concerned right now.
I mean, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up, Jeremy.
No, you guys are so smart. I thought I'd just let you go.
So Jeremy, Jerry and I have sat here and gone on and on about the Caps here for the last 3 minutes. Does it really matter what the fuck happens right now? Or
I mean, this is the whole, I don't know if we talked about it last time. This is the whole deal where the Caps are not going to prepare one game for Columbus. They're just not going to do that.
Right.
If it's a playoff series, different story. Torts is preparing for the Caps because they're probably not going to make the playoffs like you just said. These are their playoff games. This is how they can say, hey, we are a good team. And they are. They're not bad. They're just missing some pieces. They got a lot of injuries, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried at all. I mean, look what, Caps before that last loss to Boston were won 16 out of 17? They're not that much better than Boston. Boston's a damn good team.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything either. I mean, so you prepare for the, your one game. I would like to see them not have to flip a switch when the playoffs come around because they did it last year. It didn't work. Oh, they played fine, but, hey, you go to 7 games, you're going to lose, and that's going to happen. I'm not worried, but I also this is probably the worst stretch these last, 5 or 6 games they've had all season. I mean, still only have 7 regulation losses. You'd like to see them do better, but, again, these are the doldrums. They finally had a sort of a little bit of break in their schedule. They played 3 games over 10 days in one stretch.
Yep.
The rhythm's not there. The holidays are here.
Yeah, they're 4-3 in the last 7.
That's got to be their worst stretch of the season, except for maybe the first 4 games or something like that. But
well, I mean, I would just like to see, especially against Columbus, since they played so shitty, they just have a little bit of pride and say, whereas this one I probably would look over, but we got something to prove against these guys.
You go out and lose 7-3 to Columbus, tomorrow. I'm not going to be happy about that.
No, and that's why I think the style of play needs to kind of go to the forefront right now. Again, we've banked points. 26 regulation wins before the first of the year is pretty phenomenal. We are sitting in really good position, but how we're playing, how the synergy is working, Are they playing the style that they want to? Are they, their PK has been really, really good the last couple months.
The power play's been equally as bad.
Correct. Power play's been terrible. If I had to pick one, I'd rather the PK be really, really good and your power play struggle this time of the year, especially.
Which takes how many damn penalties they've been taking.
Well, they've been taking a ton.
That needs to improve because that's bad. They take so many penalties.
They do, and I'm kind of on the fence on this. I'm glad you brought this up, Jerry, because I was watching the Boston game, and the first 3 penalties that the Caps took, I was kind of like, they're just working harder. And we got called for, just doing something maybe a little bit wrong. I don't mind those penalties. Now, in that game, I think they evened themselves out. I think Boston got knocked a couple times in the second period, and I thought those were questionable calls. But if we're working hard, if we're skating well, if the pace is good, and I go back to when we did our preview back in early September, they have to play with pace because when they do, they are almost unstoppable.
Kuzi's been kind of shitty in the past month, hasn't he? I mean, I think Eller's been playing a lot better than he has.
Well, Kuzi's kind of been his typical self. He'll have 2 or 3 games where he looks like he could be the best player in the league, and then 2 or 3 games where you forgot that he played. And again, it's consistency with everybody, and he's probably the biggest culprit of being inconsistent.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't see that out of Ovi. Ovi's out there,
Ovi's just old and slow and plodding,
and still scores as much as almost anybody in the
absolutely
league.
Scores as much. And against Boston, what do you have? 4 hits in the first period alone.
He's a generational talent.
Oh yeah,
he's
incredible.
You expect him
right when he loses a step, the rest of the league can finally catch back up to him.
I'm with you.
He's not the problem. No, but you bring up Kuzi, and you're 100% right. He's one of those game changers because when he plays in that top echelon of centers in the NHL, our team is completely different. When he plays, very stagnant, average hockey, we're just a decent team, and he's one of those guys that can flip the switch for our team.
Samsonov, Holtby, you think this back-to-back, so Friday, Saturday, Columbus, and then at Carolina, you expect Holtby to get
they'll split the back-to-backs, especially because Holtby was so blah in the first period the other night.
And I expect Holtby at home is my initial guess.
Agreed.
Oh, and then Samsonov.
Let me ask you real quick, Jeremy, because you're good on this. Hockey's brutal when you're a goalie because, you're left out to dry even on the most mundane plays. So when it goes in, everybody looks at the last guy. You can't be expected to make saves that are, like superhuman. But when your team is struggling a little bit and when you're not getting the puck luck on the other end, every once in a while you have to come up with a save. Was there anything in the first period you thought he could have done the other night?
I don't think so, but no, and your point's right, though. If you make one of those, you'd like to think that would make the difference. But the problem is when you're giving away 5 golden opportunities in a period, what are you going to do?
I know.
And it stinks. And because Samsonov only had 3 or 4 saves himself. They just didn't get any shots after that.
No. They had one shot in the second, and it was a goal because it was a breakaway.
And to me, it's obvious the coaching staff didn't think it was a problem because they would have pulled him after the third or after the fourth. They waited until after the period. So that wasn't a Holtby you stink. That was a team you stink.
Yeah.
Goal.
Yeah, I thought so too. No, I was glad to hear you say that because I think you probably have a good pulse on. I think I'm a little harsher on the goalies. If I want to parse it a little bit, I thought the second goal, the Marchand goal, he made the first save and then he completely overslid well outside of his crease and created room for Marchand to get the rebound in. I was kind of like, make the first save and then button up in your butterfly. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you making that push?
He was B Holtby, not A Holtby. There's no question about that. And that's kind of your point. Is if he's A, I think they still lose the game. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, probably.
Difference, but it looks better.
So I had this combo with a buddy of mine, and he was like, "All right, so Boston, Washington, that game. He's a Flyers fan, so Jerry hates him automatically.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I hope he has flat tires."
Jesus Christ. And so he said, so Boston, Washington, he goes, that's the preview of the conference finals. He goes, those two teams are so far and away better than everybody else. I said, I would agree with you, but gun to my head right now, Holtby and Rask don't scare me. If I'm a fan of their teams, if I'm a Boston fan, I don't know that Rask has it in his arsenal to steal a series anymore. Does Holtby? I don't know.
No, I think they both do.
You think so? Okay.
Top 5 or 6 in the league.
Okay. All right.
Contract year aside, I would expect Holtby to be a monster in the playoffs.
I would hope so too. But those two guys, they've been there. They got a lot of miles on those tires. And
when's the trade deadline?
Probably mid-February.
Yeah, I was going to say February, like 20th.
Is there any rumblings about what the Caps can do? I mean, they're up against it with the Caps. So
They are. So
I don't think unless somebody gets hurt, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I've not heard anything concrete, and obviously a team that's run by. Sorry, Jeremy had to exit again.
He always leaves. Like I think he's choking.
So
no stroke, hopefully.
So I don't think when you're dealing with a team like the Caps that has McClellan pulling the strings, you're not really going to know much until it comes down to it. He keeps everything so close to the vest.
I'm not even. I don't know what you do though.
I don't know what you do either.
Maybe a defenseman.
If someone out, and we've talked about this with Holtby, if one of his hometown teams, a la Calgary or Edmonton, is making a push and they go, we need a legit 1A goalie and we think we can do this thing, and we're going to give you a young stud, first-round pick, this guy, and the Caps go, you know what? We've got Samsonov and Copley to go into the playoffs. If they think they're good with that, might not be the craziest thing in the world.
That would be ballsy upon ballsy.
It would be
trade
ballsy
your
upon
number
ballsy
one when you're a cup contender.
Agreed. But if you don't think you have Holtby next year and you think Samsonov can catch lightning in a bottle, I mean, again, this is complete speculation, absolutely zero fucking data behind it.
I think there's about
spitballing.
0% chance it happens, only because the kind of offer it would take to get Holtby, away from the Caps. The teams, they're going to have, it's almost going to be a sign and trade kind of thing. I know that doesn't really happen in hockey, but because why would a team give up that much for a guy that could leave after the season? So,
unless they knew that, but that's just it. Unless they're willing to give him 8, 9, 10 on the open market next year. Yeah. If Calgary goes into the next offseason going, Bobrovsky's deal, that's the new trademark for goalies.
And 10 by 8.
Correct. Done. And we believe that Holtby can get 10, and we're going to get him.
Sorry, be 10 by 7, I guess.
We're going to pull the trigger now. And they could do away with a stud D-man or, a second line winger or somebody that could help us. Again,
Goudreau or something.
Yeah, right. No, again, completely no basis for that. I don't think it's going to happen.
Maybe a 5% chance, right?
Barely. But gives us something to talk about and something to think about, because I'd be shocked if Holtby was a Cap next year.
I think there's almost no way.
Yeah, no way. What's your prediction for the next 4?
I don't know who they're playing. Besides Columbus.
Thanks for paying attention. Columbus, Carolina twice.
Right. Okay.
And the
Islanders in there. Okay. 2-1-1.
Boom. I'm with him.
3-0-1.
And if
with the tie in Carolina.
And if Jerry has shown us anything, he has predicted the Caps way better than we have this year. Yes. Jerry's been right on point. Motherfucker.
They'll probably be 0-3-1.
God, I hope not. Well, I hope you don't over-exaggerate like you did with your boy Sean at Appalachian State.
Yeah. I thought my boy Sean was getting fired after the first quarter.
Did you let him know that people that don't even know him have more faith in him than his boy?
Well, I told him. I said, I thought you were going to get fired at halftime.
Yeah, I tuned in and I was like, they're winning. They're the better team. Now they're dominating. I look back at our text.
Yeah, I was surprised because, I'm sitting there. I'm excited to watch it. It's my boy, and Holly and I are watching. And that first 2 drives, they just take it down like, this guy's a fucking terrible coach.
The knee-jerk reaction from the couch is my favorite.
I look up, it's 14-10 at halftime. I'm like, all right, they sort of settled down, and then the second half they just took over.
Completely dominated. So, hey, shout out to Sean, Jerry's boy, Appalachian State. Yeah. Let's go.
Sean, I have more faith in you than Jerry does.
Without question.
He kept his recruiting class together.
That's impressive.
No one left.
That's impressive, man.
So
that's a good win for them.
Yeah.
They're fucking ranked, man. Good for them,
top
dude.
20, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And they've got 15 starters coming back next year.
Whew. That's some good shit right there.
They're the real Mountaineers.
Yeah, really. So let's take
good call.
Let's take our attention over to the gridiron on the NFL level. And let's talk some Ravens real quick. It was pretty much...
It's RG3 time this week, boys.
So
I predict right now he plays well.
Well, so he's going to start, right?
He's going to start. Okay. Yeah, Lamar's out.
Correct.
The Ravens have 10 starters just resting.
Yeah. Right.
And then they get, it's the old, are they going to be rusty?
That was going to be my question for you. So I think you have to rest your starters. You have to.
Yeah. I'd rather be rusty than injured.
Completely agree. Because if you're rusty, that was in your control. You could try and do some things to get your guys well-tuned and ready to rock and roll. if you're injured, it's because you're an asshole and you played a guy when you shouldn't have.
Well, I mean, being rusty for Lamar Jackson, it's not like he's ultra accurate anyway. You know, I mean, he runs the ball, right?
He does.
So you don't get rusty running the ball. He can do that in a whim. But what he might not be able to do is, and I don't know what defensive coordinators are doing when they play the Ravens, because I would put like 7 guys on Mark Andrews and make someone else catch the ball.
Dude, you said it a couple weeks ago. I've really watched, with a keen eye the last couple weeks. He literally looks for Andrews every single
time.
play.
Right down the middle.
And Andrews is open every play.
Yeah, it's usually that sidearm, like
Yes.
8-yard pass.
Yeah. Where he kind of looks wide, looks to Hollywood or somebody else, looks over to, dude with the long hair, whatever that guy's name is.
Hayden Hurst?
No.
Snead.
Snead. Yeah, he looks over to Snead, and then he comes back to Andrews, and Andrews is wide fucking open every time.
That's his security blanket.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it must be something that they do the way they have a formation where the look is to the defense. It looks exactly like that RPO,
right?
And then at the last minute, he steps back and throws it over the middle.
It must be, but that's why I give tons of props to their coaching staff for. I mean, throwing out the looks and everything else, because those defenses look like they are on their heels. And these are legit NFL coordinators that know exactly what they're getting, and they still can't stop it.
Well, the Ravens are going to be tough to beat. I mean, they're going to get home field throughout, and they're going to be rested. Mm-hmm. So that is pretty impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah. Very impressive.
But I think they're going to beat Pittsburgh with RG3. I just he's been not playing for so long. And this is his one chance with that ego of his.
Sure.
In the RPO college system that he ran.
That's
that
right.
He can do. I think he's going to be pretty good.
So he's either going to be awesome, they're going to go on and win the game or play really well, or he's going to break his leg, third play.
Yeah, I mean, he'll throw the ball 12 times, right? That's all he's going to do because they're going to run that RPO stuff.
Wouldn't that be great if he went 28 for 30 for 350 and 3 touches?
I expect him to have really good stats. I mean, we forget how good RG3 was.
I don't forget. That year was magical.
Yeah. His problem is he can do everything Lamar can do, maybe not as fast, except he can't do it consistently because he's going to get hurt.
Right.
So. He would get hurt every third game if he was forced to play all the time.
Mm-hmm. So, no, I agree.
But I expect him. He's had all 2 years to learn the system. I'm sure he doesn't get a lot of reps, but now he's getting reps. I expect him to play well.
I do too.
No, it's gonna be. I think it adds a little bit of intrigue to the last meaningless game of the season. Unlike our other semi-favorite team, who not only has nothing to play for, they don't have the guys they want to be playing because everybody's fucking hurt. So
let's move it on down the Beltway to the burgundy and gold and to the Redskins.
I think it was absolutely a perfect game on Sunday. You got Haskins in. He looked really good. Second week in a row, he gets in, looking really good. You've seen enough to where he's not going to be a bust. We don't think he's going to be a bust. You've seen enough to where you can work with him. The rookie wide receivers are playing well.
Yep.
Your defense is dreadful. Your defensive coordinator is dreadful.
So bad.
In the NFL, the old adage is you can every defensive coordinator in the NFL can stop one person. They couldn't stop. They were trying to stop Saquon Barkley and they just couldn't stop him.
Nope.
And it's not like the Giants have a great offensive line. So, but they got the loss when they needed it.
Yep.
And now,
my favorite text of the week was, "Let them score."
Yeah, I mean, if I would, I'm happy he didn't go for 2 because there was a pretty good chance they would have gotten it. And
I was praying they went for 2 because
Yeah.
I knew they wouldn't get it.
When the Redskins were on that marching, I was like, throw the ball backwards. I mean, just get down there and let it go. But what scares you a little bit about the Redskins winning is that Callahan and the quarterback, I don't know which one's going to play. I guess it's Keenum.
I think Keenum. Yeah.
They have no future here, so they don't give a shit about the big picture. If you're Bill Callahan, you're just trying to win games, man. This might be the last game you ever coach as a head coach, so you're going to try to win. So that scares me a little bit.
Hasn't worked so far.
Yeah, well, they played better under Callahan than they did under Jag.
No, I will give Callahan a ton of credit for bringing some semblance of organization and accountability to a pro team. I mean, bare bones, he was basically like, you're going to do exactly what we say, how we say it. whether you agree with it or not, doesn't matter. That means you won't play or you will play, and you'll play as hard as you can. Right. And they played hard, and they played way more competitively. He is the most boring motherfucker I have ever heard in my life.
I can't even.
For the love of God, please don't hire him as the head coach.
Oh, there's no chance.
Dude, if Bruce Allen stays somehow,
there's no chance he's going to stay either. In the
Jerry, I
world.
sincerely, I'm making prayer hands right now. I hope you are right because that is like my worst nightmare.
No, I mean I can't see. I can't see how there's any way that happens.
No way.
I don't think so either.
He's not even been around lately. I'm not even sure he goes to games anymore.
Who's that, Bruce Allen?
Bruce Allen. I mean, he's not there.
Is he still with us? Does anybody know?
I mean, I don't want to say anything mean, but I kind of hope not.
But I think I don't want to say anything mean.
I don't want to say anything
and
mean.
I get shit for a flat tire comment. Really?
Well, I just mean with us, like in the same country. He can go. He can live somewhere else.
Oh fuck!
No, but good point about Callahan bringing some discipline, and that is actually I like Jay. I think he is a better coach than he showed here. I think he's better than Callahan. But the thing with him is he always thought if you're a pro, you can be a pro. You don't need my help to be a pro. I'll make you a better pro, but you don't need my help to be a pro. And that's apparently it doesn't work. At least it didn't work with this team. He let them slide, and they slid.
Yeah.
He always said that. He said, that's not my job. If you're here, you're a pro, or you should be a pro. I don't have to do that for you. I scheme it up. I make you better. I don't have to make you a pro, and that just didn't work with them. I mean, these guys suck. That's all I really can say.
Well, in my view, it will be a successful offseason for the Redskins if they hire a team president who has enough balls to separate the coach and the players from Dan Snyder. You have to have somebody who will say, fuck you, Dan Snyder, go back in your office.
Yes.
This is my job.
Go back on your ship.
Don't talk to my coaches. Don't talk to my players. Just let me do my job or fire me immediately.
Does that person exist?
Urban Meyer.
Okay.
And I stand by what we said. I think Meyer's the front office guy, not the coach. Yeah. Rumors I've heard today is coach, but they are just rumors. I don't know if you guys saw there was some tweet out there, some jackass I never heard of, but he said that Dan from the Bahamas has sent down the decree Monday morning. Everybody's gone. Urban is in as the coach. That's the rumor.
I mean, I think I would prefer what you said. I'd prefer him as like an architect, general manager.
Completely
Completely
agree.
You need somebody who just breaks the trend, and the fans can rally around and actually believe, not even some illusion. I mean, not some former Redskin great that comes back and that those days are done. You need somebody who actually people will believe will be independent from Dan Snyder and has enough ego to basically tell him, you've ruined the situation. I'm here to fix the situation. Go away.
Right.
That's what you need. If you don't get that person, I don't care anything about it because nothing's going to work.
Completely agree.
And then you can get that person to say to the head coach they fire, say, you're my guy. You talk only to me.
Right.
And we're going to do this. This guy cuts the checks. We'll consult him like we do with everybody, right?
Right.
But when it comes to decision making, you and I are doing this. And
right. Basically, tell him
buffer.
Right. Ask for permission, not forgiveness.
Right.
Be like, hey, here's the deal. We're going to sign the following players. It's under the cap. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Don't go out and do it and then go, oh, Danny boy, we thought we would do this, and we're going to get your blessing after the fact.
The most concerning thing from Sunday is not that Haskins got hurt. It's the fact that Dan Snyder was down there telling him not to go back in the game.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Stop talking to the quarterback.
He has to be that level removed. Yeah.
I hate Snyder. I think he's a piece of shit. But it sounds like what really happened was the doctor said, Dwayne, you're not going back in. And all Dan said is listen to the doctors.
Right.
That's it. Because the first reports were different.
Right. The problem is that Dan Snyder gets the benefit of no doubt.
Yep.
Right. Once you hear the scenario, you're like, he's
meddling
again.
Jerry, you're right. Snyder, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Just
cheers to that.
The best move he could, and I never understood this, and I never will.
And happy Hanukkah.
Yeah. Dan Snyder, you don't
kiss your ass. Kiss his ass.
You don't have to market. The Redskins don't have to market, and they don't have to make marketing personnel decisions if they win. This town is a football town.
Yes.
If you win, You could have the most boring team in the world,
Correct.
and you're still gonna.
Dude, if we win 6-3, 10 weeks in a row,
10 weeks in a
they
row.
will
Are you kidding me?
They will put down like palm branches,
Yes,
as
I
you
mean,
walk by. If you're a Redskin,
if this team made it to the NFC Championship with the worst offense in the league,
oh,
the FedEx Field would be sold out every freaking weekend. You couldn't get tickets.
and talk radio all week
All
would be
week about how
yeah.
great is the defense. This is how you win football games.
That's correct. Exactly right. But aside from the fact that Callahan is the most boring man in history, and Jay is no longer with us on this squad, and the fact that Dan Snyder still employs Bruce Allen, which is hopefully a short-term endeavor,
I think that's done on Sunday.
I can guarantee you none of those people look as dumb as Jason Garrett. Dude, watching him on the
like a
sideline.
traffic cop, I'm telling you.
Holy shit, what a fucking moron. Like, that guy,
He's the clapper.
he is the worst. I used to think he was like a decent coach. I watched him for the better part of that Eagles-Cowboys game. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on with his own team. He doesn't know what play is being run. He has no idea what personnel group is in, what down it is. At one point, he actually tried to call a timeout. It was only second down. He thought it was like 3rd and 10, and it was like 2nd and 8. And an assistant came over and grabbed his arm and pulled it down and said, no, don't call the timeout or whatever. And he's standing there with that dumb look on his face, and I'm going, even a team with a completely inept coach is this close to making the playoffs.
Well, if you're a Cowboys fan, and far be it from anybody to be worried about what the Redskins fans think, right? But
Well,
Interrupt you real quick here, Jerry. I think Jason Garrett is to an NFL coach as Todd is to a beer pourer, based on the evidence I just saw.
I don't know. These
Hey, I didn't pour
cans
that one.
These cans are faulty.
this is-
The hell's going on over the Benedict house where you guys
Beer
can't pour
instead of
shit?
foam.
fuck off, Jeremy.
For the record, he taught me to pour beer.
Jeremy's an asshole. Let
Yes.
let that be on the record.
Yes, I am. Guilty as charged.
Here's what's scary as a Cowboy fan. They may go 8-8, 7-9, whatever their record's going to be. They got to pay Dak Prescott $35 million. They already have Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes.
If they get Cooper too, which they say they're going to do,
Well, they say they're going to do it. But
that's 70% of basically your cap. And you had all those guys. And
I know.
You won 7 games.
I know.
So
Dude, preaching to the choir. I hear you. There are plenty of teams out there that are just as bad in terms of their long-term approach as the Redskins are. The optics currently are better because they're better teams based on the standings.
sure.
You know,
I mean, but the Redskins have upside now.
I agree with you.
They have upside.
And I never thought I'd be saying that
Giants
5,
have
6, 7
upside.
weeks ago.
The
Yeah,
Giants have upside.
completely agree with you.
I don't
You
know if Philly has upside.
Philly, I think, is pretty well run though.
Yeah.
The Lorries tend to do a pretty good job. They're like the learners, little bit tight on the purse strings, but they know who to put in charge and when, and they they let the coaches, they let the players kind of run with it a little bit.
So if I'm the Redskins, going back to personnel, I let every veteran go.
Me too,
There's no one worth saving.
of course.
I mean, maybe that's drastic, but Trent Williams, I'm trading him. I assume Cleveland will still want an offensive tackle. And maybe you can't get, I mean, certainly not, I don't think you're going to first round pick, but if you can get a couple, it's like a second and a third.
Sure.
Or somebody like that, I mean, you know me, I've been preaching this. I'd be talking to the Ravens, see if they want to get rid of one of their tight ends. I'd assume it'd be Hurst. Because the Redskins are one tight end away from being pretty dynamic.
Dude, their offense could
You know?
be really good. But here's the problem, right? Geis, what is he?
They need another running back.
Bryce
He's
Love.
But they got Bryce Love, yeah, but he's injury prone too.
Correct.
They need to draft somebody.
That's my point. They need so when teams load up on draft picks, sometimes they get, a dozen draft picks between like the 4th and 6th rounds and they just load up. We need like 20.
Yeah.
Well,
The Skins need
I say we.
and-
What an asshole I am.
The Skins and they need bulk linemen and secondary. And I assume that Eric Flowers, to their credit, man, that guy has been a solid guard.
He's been really, really good.
And Will, I think, will be a solid guard.
God bless Wes Martin.
Wes Martin, Will Martin, Wes Martin.
His brother Will. Yeah. His other brother Will.
It's. I think
Other brother.
I think Jaron Christian has been a terrible pick. He sucks. I don't think he's going to be able to sustain anything. I
don't think so either,
I think
but-
Morgan Moses is the worst offensive tackle in the league.
Well,
he's awful.
Well, you said weeks ago that he was going to lead the league in holding calls. I don't know the stats, but he's pretty goddamn
He
close.
sucks. I mean, he's terrible. So
Nice guy, but
those
Except he went to UVA. That's not good.
and so I think if you can get a second, a third for Trent, take it. You know, maybe a little.
God,
bit.
what a far cry. What a far cry.
Everybody
Months ago,
said-
we were like number one or else.
Well, nobody gave a one.
I know.
Everybody said
I know.
Cleveland gave a one. No, they didn't.
No, nobody
didn't
gave
give
a
a
one.
one.
Fuck.
Well, we did say we were.
I said not to trade him if you didn't get a one.
Well, we were trying to be
did?
positive.
You?
The Redskins didn't fuck that up yet. Well, I think we're past that point. I think they.
I don't know if they fucked it up. We'll see what they get. I mean, we'll see what they get coming into the draft this
That's
year.
true. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But either way, they are nothing less than depressing, underachieving, and without wholesale changes from the top down, we get much of the same.
If they can get a strong personnel guy to run the ship, then they can get a stronger coach than they're thought to get, and then they can get a defensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
If Urban Meyer comes here, he'll have a stroke in 3 years.
If he coaches, I think I already
coaches,
said that.
yeah.
I'm worried he's going to die on the sideline if he coaches. I really am.
I am I'm very worried about his coaching
That dude
health.
is a complete asshole, and that's exactly the kind of coach you need.
Yeah.
You need somebody who's so freaking arrogant. And I don't know. I mean, I just assume that any coach they hire without doing it the way I suggest is going to suck, just because it's the Redskins. It's the Redskins. But Chase Young, man,
Dude, that's the fucking guy.
gotta lose to get that dude.
When we lost to the Giants, I rejoiced.
Oh, I was
and
so
like,
happy. Couldn't
There
have
is
been better.
still a chance for Chase Young. And I was like, thank God the Haskins injury isn't that bad. You know?
Right? Yeah. I mean, he played great.
Yeah, he played awesome. And when he went out, I was like, oh, fuck. What was this? But sounds
Is
like.
there a worse fucking defensive coordinator than Greg Minuski? I mean, what the
dude.
fuck did he just play his
I
base
would
shit
probably
off?
be worse, but
I mean, he just plays his
I don't
base
think
shit
so.
over.
I'm pretty sure Jeremy would research like his Tecmo Bowl defenses.
But do we see a ton
Robert
of like
Blitz.
do we see a ton of like creativity?
that's more
No.
It's like corner blitzes and
And-
all
No,
that
we
shit.
see
No.
zero.
And you know
creativity. I don't
why?
know what the fuck
Because-
creativity is.
All the pundits will say, oh, they don't have the talent. They can't run this scheme or
They don't
that
have the
scheme.
tools either.
No. The tools, we don't have the talent. It's a fucking disaster.
Yeah, but it's time, and I think Pink slips. What time's the game over? 7:30. It's 7:35.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We have the late game, right?
Oh, we got flexed, boys. Yeah, we should. I don't even know.
We got flexed.
Jesus Christ.
I'd almost just forfeit. Fuck it. I mean,
Like Pee Wee style.
I couldn't give a shit if they
Wave the white flag
If they
when you go out
win,
there.
that will be the worst day in Redskin history in a fucking decade. Because that means we're going to get some shitty offensive tackle.
Now, if they win, Doc Walker is going to do like cartwheels through DuPont Circle and be so excited.
Fuck that. Fred Smoot he's you gotta lose for Chase.
I know.
I'm with him, man.
I know. It's funny because he's looked down upon by some of his some of his on-air personalities. They're like, I can't believe he's saying this. And he's like,
Come on,
dude,
man. What
he-
difference does it make we win games? We don't need to win no games.
He's like,
come on.
am I the only one looking at this? He's like, look at the standings. He's like, lose, lose, lose. That's the only way you can get better.
Yep. I'm with you. So let's go Redskins. Keep fucking it up. Don't screw it up by winning a meaningless game.
Let's do it. Let's do it, boys. So speaking of losing, let's move on to our Terps basketball team, which went from number 3 in the country down to number 13.
Speaking
I
of
believe.
cruises, the Terps basketball team is the Titanic. It's gonna fucking sink.
All right.
They suck, dude. The Turgeon's a shitty fucking coach, man.
All right. They don't suck.
They
Turgeon may or may not be a shitty coach. Let's debate, but let's do it logically because that's what we do here.
Jerry, you can take a break if you'd like.
So here's the deal. I warned you guys before the Penn State game. I said I did not feel good about that game. We lost. I said last week I didn't feel good about Seton Hall. We lost. Didn't think we were going to lose in that fashion. That game, by the way, was one of the worst college basketball games I've seen in a long time. If you weren't a fan of those two teams and you tuned in, you turned that game off immediately.
Oh, absolutely. I kept thinking of it during the game. I criticized, I think it was Syracuse, Georgetown a few years ago.
Yeah.
The 37-36.
Right.
Well, this game was one of the worst games I've ever seen. But just think how much better it was than that pile of garbage. That's what made me feel a little bit better.
That's a
about
decent perspective there, Jeremy.
Over under 9 losses.
At this point, I'm going
Under.
Over.
I still think it's under, but here's the problem.
Here's good news. Cam Atkins is out tomorrow. Yeah.
He is a Caps killer.
Cap killer, man.
So here's the deal with the Terps. This is the deepest, most talented team that Turgeon has ever had. It is by far the most highly acclaimed as far as prospects go with NBA potential. He's been here now for what, 10?
9 or 10 years, yeah.
9 or 10 years. And they cannot run a play out of a timeout. They cannot put together a decent road game when they are the favorite over and over and over again. And I am
48 fucking points.
I'm with you. So Turgeon has consistently been a great recruiter. To this point, squeaky clean program for the most part. A few little indiscretions on the side, but nothing like the big dogs, right? So he's been safe. He's been clean. Top recruiter. We're an NCAA tournament team, and yet I am left wanting more. Why? Because his in-game coaching leaves me scratching my head going, what the fuck are you
Are
doing?
we talking basketball or STDs? What's going on here?
Jesus Christ.
He's a career underachiever.
Dude, they can't run a play off of a timeout to save their goddamn lives. It is so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, that bothers me a little bit, but
Oh, it bothers me a ton. Because here's the deal, Jeremy. 5 years ago, he threw his hands in the air and said, these assholes don't listen to me. And then two more recruiting classes later, they still do the same thing.
well, if you listen to Cowan's comments, he's basically completely agreeing with Turch. He's like, I don't know what the hell we're doing out there.
Well, then
Yeah,
fucking
you
do
see-
something different for Christ's sake.
But I mean, I think that I think we way overplay that issue because there's other things going on that magnify that. I mean, this is the worst game this team's played all season by a long shot.
Well, it's-
they're
there's only
basically
10 games in, man.
But they're only one shot away from winning that game. They hit 1 3-pointer any point in that game that they missed, they probably win that game.
Yes, but they probably should
can
win
say
that game by
about-
20
Of course,
points.
You
you
can
should. No, I
say
thought
that
about-
about any fucking game.
Yeah.
And if
No,
we
no,
scored those
right.
5 points in
No,
a row, we
no,
won.
but
The only reason that game
Yeah.
was close is because they played defense better than any Turgeon team has played defense. So I will give them that.
And that part you love, but what I
Without question.
well, I guess the thing is the inbound plays don't bother me because what bothers me is the stuff in game. Why are you driving and getting blocked 15 times? Do something different.
What bothers me is this consecutive slow starts every fucking game.
And that's where I'm at, too.
when you're down 16-2 or 20-4 to a shitty fucking team. I mean, this
This isn't the first time this has happened.
This is the third
it's every
straight
game this season,
game.
all
They
one game
started off
probably.
slow. They've played like dog shit, and they've lost 2 of them. They should have lost to Illinois. How fucking crazy would I be if they lost to Illinois, which they should have done? So they'll beat Bryant. It'll be lackluster, and then they got to start the Big Ten. They got Indiana. All right, let's see how that goes. Iowa, Rutgers is garbage. Illinois, Nebraska, Michigan State, Northwestern, and then they get Ohio State, which is a fucking juggernaut. Minnesota,
Or juggernaut, as LeBron would say.
Michigan State again, Rutgers, and then Michigan.
See, so the big dogs actually don't worry me. I think that the Michigan State, Ohio State games are all going to go down to the wire, and we're going to acquit ourselves fairly well. So if we play the big dogs 6 times, I think we go 3-3 or 4-2. What I'm worried about is Illinois, Northwestern, Indiana. Those games I'm worried about because if this team used the term disinterested with the Caps, and I think it's spot on, it's the same way with the Terps. If they feel like they're the better team, they come out expecting to have a 15, 18-point lead, and then they're up by 6 at half. And that's just not good enough.
And that's because coaching, both the Caps and Maryland.
Don't tie this together, Jerry, even though I just did.
It's coaching. It's Todd Reardon is a average coach,
Okay.
and Turgeon is a average above average recruiter, below average floor general.
He might be. He might be.
And
I don't
think
know.
We're also spoiled because we had Gary for so long. And Gary would have taken, well, he never would have gotten this talent because he wouldn't have put up with the bullshit it took to get it. But if he had it, they probably wouldn't lose any games. They probably wouldn't even be within 10 points or 20 points in most
If
of
they
these
bought
games.
into him.
Right.
But no, saying, oh, they have to lose a game is bullshit. I hate when people say that about undefeated teams. But this team, to me, just from the comments I've read, from Cowan, from Turds, they needed to take one of these terrible starts, one of these games where they can't do shit off the inbounds, where they don't make any adjustments. They needed to lose one of these games. And that's if they don't, reflect after that Seton Hall game and come back stronger.
But didn't we say that against who they lose to before the Seton Hall? Penn State. Didn't we say that about
but
Penn
I thought
State?
Penn State actually, from what I did see, played pretty well. Seton Hall didn't.
I just think you're
Yeah, but the bottom line
Hall-
is it's 2 games in a row.
Seton Hall-
that you were underwhelming.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Seton
2
Hall
games in
and
a row,
Penn
but-
State are fringe tournament teams.
But
Yes.
they will have played 2 games in like 25 days. That's fucking awful.
I think
now
it's-
they get
I
into
think it's-
every 3 days they're playing. That's when we're going to see what they
See,
are.
and I don't disagree with that, but
They don't
right
have to do
before that,
ever again this season. You don't
right
have to do it.
before that, when they struggled against Illinois, Turgeon's whole thing was, we played 6 games in the last 10 days. He goes, we haven't even had a chance to practice. We have like 6 plays right now. And then they go out and they lose to Penn State and Seton Hall. He's like, oh, yeah, we've had all this time, but, they've had exams. We haven't had a chance,
Yeah,
whatever.
shut the
It's
fuck
just
up,
excuse
dude.
after
Well,
excuse.
he's just trying to protect his players.
I know he is.
That's
I
all
know
he's
he is.
doing.
And look, I
You don't
think he's a
have to-
good guy.
I don't listen to any of that
And I think he's a good dude. I would not replace him in a heartbeat right now. Unless one of like the top 5 guys in the country came up, I would not replace him.
Well, that's
Well, no, you
yeah.
can't replace him now, but in
No,
the
but-
offseason,
no,
you're
even in
going
the
to
offseason. That's a great point, though. I mean, because when I see the talent that this team has, this is, to me, we said it. It's a Final Four team. That's the potential.
You give
Yes.
Huggins this team, you're going to grade 8.
Yeah, well, if he can, not die and not
Grade
go to
8,
jail.
Elite 8, whatever you want to call
Whatever
it.
you call it. He shits on Mark Turgeon, coaching wise.
He probably shits himself.
you could be a hater, dude, but your team is going down like the Titanic, and West Virginia's got a better record with terrible fucking talent. Now they may end up getting the shit kicked out of them. They play Ohio State,
Yeah,
I'm
they're,
sure.
they're nothing.
Right.
I mean, in Maryland, maybe nothing too. That's what's frustrating. But I don't.
What's frustrating is Maryland's a name, and they are a second class program because their coach is a second class coach.
They just don't have that. I don't know. There's like this, intrinsic, greatness to programs that just instill fear in you, right? When you go to Rupp Arena, when you go to Cameron, when you go to the Smith Center, you're like, fuck, these are the big dogs right here. When you go to Xfinity Center, you're not like, oh, this is big bad Maryland. You're like, huh, we can beat these guys.
Used to.
Yeah, used to be. I think we are all holding on to a little bit of nostalgia. We're all hoping that this team can be as good as some of the better Gary teams, and maybe they just aren't. I don't know.
This is the best recruiting.
Talent-wise, this is the best
Telling
I've
you,
ever seen
if
Maryland.
you get an elite coach, Maryland becomes elite.
But who
It's
do you,
that
who,
simple.
Who?
But who?
Calipari.
He's not leaving fucking Kentucky
Well,
to come here.
you asked. I mean,
but
you
no,
got to
no,
get
no,
someone
no,
like that.
unrealistic.
And
You
that's why
have-
I'm saying, unless the top 5 guys become available, what do you replace
Well,
Turgeon
first
with?
of all, Maryland doesn't have any money, so they're not going to be able to get anybody that's good. But
So what is the alternative is the question.
How about Bray? Get him out of Notre Dame.
blah, meh. He's a good coach. I mean,
Damn good coach.
I mean, that's who.
Well,
you're gonna
anyway,
get.
we know it's not going to happen in season. I mean, that's not even. It's not even. It's talk about 0% chance. But so this we're what, a third of the way. Excuse me, third of the way through it.
Yep.
Well, this we've said it before the season started. We probably didn't know we were going to be in exactly this position. We probably didn't think we were going to start out 8 or 9-0, whatever it was. We didn't think we'd lose these games like we did. Let's see. This is the season. We said it from the beginning. That hasn't changed. We got 20 more games or whatever it is. We will know. We will know in March.
I think the next 4 games. I mean, Bryant they should handle, but
Forget that one. Let's talk about the first 4.
Yeah, first
Big
4
Ten.
conference
or
games.
next 4
Right.
Big 10 games. I
yeah,
should say.
Right.
That's going to
Yeah.
tell where you are.
Absolutely.
If you're 1-3, it's a bad.
Oh,
you're
that's a disaster if they're 1-3 in the next 4 conference games. That can't happen.
See, I was thinking if they don't beat like Northwestern and Indiana by double digits, I'm going to be pissed.
But that's what I said about Seton Hall. I mean, Seton Hall,
I know.
God, they scored 52 freaking points.
I know.
You
And
expect Maryland to be
Jeremy's
in a
dead
7.
on. Seton Hall didn't even play that well. They were without their top two guys,
They were-
and they didn't
they
play
were
that
better
great.
than we were.
Yeah.
That was just a terrible college basketball game. Ugh.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I expect them to come out and be down 20-10 to Bryant.
Yeah, it wouldn't
then-
surprise me.
and then
honestly.
win
It's
by
when they start.
5.
Yeah, that would have been more than 5. I think.
I think they win that game by 20 plus going away.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. But we'll see. We'll see. So sticking in the college realm, let's move over real quick to our college football talk. So this weekend,
This is it, boys.
this is it, man. Top 4 play. Do we feel any differently? How are you guys feeling about the?
I'm really excited to watch these games.
Dude, I'm fired up.
I think
man.
LSU controls Oklahoma, and I think Ohio State beats Clemson. But that could be an epic.
That should be an epic game. It really
to me,
should.
that game is a total coin flip.
Which
I
one?
think so too.
know,
Which one's first?
The Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I think Clemson, they're so unknown.
I know.
You just really don't
To
know.
themselves, probably too. Honestly,
Yeah.
they just don't know.
You just don't know how you stack up. I tend to think they're going to come out and be dynamic. I think they're going to give Ohio State everything they want, if not
Yep.
win.
Yep.
But I think the winner of that game wins a national championship.
I think so too. I think the only thing that worries me about the first game is the LSU running back is still not 100%.
Yeah. And overconfidence. I mean,
Correct.
the SEC, boy, those motherfuckers think they are the shit.
Correct.
Their fans and the
Bingo.
program.
So they've emerged from clearly the best conference in the country year after year. They've beaten the likes of Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, all those guys, and they emerge as the number one. What does that do? Burrow's got the Heisman now. He's got the clout. I mean, if they just keep rolling and play their game, they're fine. I said it last time. I think Orgeron is just a bumbling moron. I think his assistants do all the work. And I hope that those guys are well prepared. They have the right game plan, and they come out and do their thing.
Oklahoma needs to come out and be ahead by 10 points or more.
Oklahoma
in the first
needs to
half.
have the
Score
mindset.
every possession.
Correct.
That's it.
They need to literally go out. Lincoln
Touchdown.
Riley needs to say every single possession, we will score points.
Yeah, because you think of LSU being, a average offensive team, because that's what they usually are and win on defense, but not this year, man. Those guys, they could put up 40.
Well, look at that Alabama game. That's what they're going to have to
Oh,
deal
yeah.
with.
Alabama gave them their best shot at home with Tua.
Put up 42 or whatever, and
Correct.
still got
And they went to the
smoked.
well on every little trick, gimmick, everything, and LSU still outscored them.
Yep.
That's scary as shit because those guys have athletes, man.
Oh, I mean, whoever plays LSU, let's say LSU and Ohio State get to the championship game. Or
I would
Clemson.
love that, by the way.
You got half the first round playing in that game.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
I mean, it's those guys have so much talent. There's no
Incredible.
parity in college football.
No, not at all. Talent, speed, I mean, aggressiveness, like everything.
No, but I just think, I'm not going to go as far as saying, the Ohio State Clemson winner is going to win the championship, but I think you're going to see maybe the best final game we've seen.
I think so too.
I hope so.
That's what I'm not. I don't even know. Who's
I
gonna
hope
win.
it's like
I'm
a
just-
USC Texas back from the
I-
early
and I'm,
2000s.
and I'm
35,
a Nick
something like
Saban
that.
guy. I love Nick Saban, but I am happy to see somebody other than Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Well,
just-
they didn't deserve it this year.
no,
They
no,
just
no,
didn't.
no. They got beat, fair and square.
Saban is such an asshole. What if he ended up at the Skins?
He would never wear. I mean, his head would explode. Working for Dan Snyder? Are you kidding me?
I would love to say that would never happen, but we got Snyder, so I'm not.
That
gonna
would
say
be
that would never happen.
hysterical, by the way.
I assume
I
that
would
the
be so bitter
Redskins,
if they
back
did
to the
that.
Redskins, they have a plan. I think Jeremy's right. I think that on Sunday you start to see the dominoes fall. Is that the?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Dan.
No, it's going to be Black Monday, is what they call it in the NFL.
I
It's,
think
it's that
Sunday
Monday
night.
right
Yeah,
after.
if you-
post game
Black 7:35.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Post game Redskins is going to be entertaining because you're going to be having announcements coming.
Twitter's gonna be on fire.
I sincerely hope so. Because if not, I'm going to be so
And
disappointed.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a clearing of everybody.
Yeah.
Doug Williams is gone. Bruce Allen's gone.
Probably janitors, everybody.
Like I said last time, I'm pretty sure Doug was gone like months ago. He's just in there.
And if
Yeah.
that happens, it's good because
Stop paying him.
that means they're bringing in someone
Take
big
his stapler.
who's going to run the show.
I hope so.
You know?
Sincerely hope so.
I hope they keep the college, scouting guys, because those guys generally do a good job.
They're doing fine.
Yeah, I think AJ Smith's son, I think, runs that. I
I think it was Kyle Smith. Is that the?
Kyle Smith.
Yeah, I think he's doing a good job.
No, he's doing great.
So, but you clean house.
We
man.
said something positive about the Redskins. Holy
Oh, yay. Yes.
Watch them win. I'll be so pissed.
It's a Christmas miracle. No, they're not going to win. They should lose by multiple scores.
Dallas
Hopefully.
wins there in the playoff.
No, if Dallas wins and Philly
And
loses,
Philly loses, okay.
Philly plays the Giants.
Yeah. Philly wins their
Daniel Jones will come out and throw 5 picks this time.
God, I hope not.
By the way, I finished third in the league.
You did.
I think I finished last.
You did. You
Sweet.
did not have a good year.
I won the consolation bracket for what it's worth, and I had the top 2 scores in the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
for
But
what
the
it's
only
worth.
reason I finished third was because I picked up Daniel Jones in the consolation round, and he had 55 points.
Who won the league?
Dave.
Really?
Yeah. Crafty.
Springfield Adams.
Yeah.
He had Lamar.
Fucking Kraft.
Yeah, he had Lamar. I
Son
mean,
of a bitch.
Lamar was getting 50 for him
Did
every
he, did he
week.
have the Ishmael brothers?
Yeah, right. Ugh. So I think that wraps up our week, right?
All right.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Fucking Turgeon. I guess he ain't coming on the show anytime soon.
Yeah, Turgeon's probably not coming on our podcast.
I'd rather have the Turgeonite than fucking Mark Turgeon.
Dude, I'm telling you, those guys are the highlight of every game I go to. Make me laugh every single time. But in all honesty, I think the Skins are trending upward. I think this offseason is going to be sincere upheaval, completely rearranging the furniture in a good way. They're going to get guys in place that know what they're doing. I think
or at least we think they know what they're doing, which brings excitement.
correct.
It's like a
There's-
dry dock. They're going to add the lime and coconut to the pool deck. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, right on, right on. Nice insider cruise critic info there from Jeremy. Mitch will get that at least if he listens this long. And
I said that, man. Miami loses 14-0 and maybe the worst bowl game ever played.
so
terrible.
many of these bowl
gross.
games are unwatchable. But again, we have the top 4 coming this Saturday in prime time. Let's fucking go.
Yep.
Love
All
the
right.
way the college football playoff
As
did
we
that.
sign off, tell me who your national champion is.
It's going to be Ohio State. They are the most well-rounded, most balanced team, Ohio State.
I have Ohio State as well. How about you, Jay?
You know what? I think Dabo's going to bring it home.
Oh,
Dabo.
Clemson again from Jay. Fucking Dabo Sweeney. Dabo Sweeney. Throw your hat down, Jay. Say, fuck you, Dabo.
God damn it, Dabo.
So with that, we will sign off for another week, and we will see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed this holiday edition of Wings, Beers, and Tears. We will see you guys next week on the other side with some caps, some terps, and who knows what else.
And we'll be breaking down the NFL playoffs.
NFL playoffs, and I can guarantee you next week we will not be talking about the Wizards again.
Yeah, fuck them, man. They could leave Washington. I wouldn't even know for a month.
Yeah.
Jeremy, any parting words?
Yeah,
Don't
I
spill
can't believe
anything.
we even talked about the NBA at all.
So peace. We will see you guys next week. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Wings, Beers, and Tears. Check us out. See you.
Peace.
Later.
Merry New Year.